asking, how could they do this? For the sake of what? Craig Albert is with me. He's an assistant professor of political science at Georgia Regents University. He is an expert on Chechnya. And I want to ask you, Craig, that's the question on the minds of a lot of people today. How they've got links to that region of the world, and yet the accounts we've been hearing so far is that they did not grow up in some radicalized family. At least that's not what the indications are thus far. Nonetheless, more and more we're hearing about the older brother developing some potential radical ties over the last few years, and perhaps bringing the younger brother into that as well. Your thoughts on the aunt's question, for the sake of what?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it would be for. If there is a connection between the jihadist movement in Chechnya, it could be very dangerous and severe for us. It seems to me, just in my opinion right now, that that's not the case, that it might just be a case of isolated, individualized terror, that they might perhaps be using the ties in Chechnya as a way to rationalize their violence. I haven't seen anything or heard anything from my sources that it is connected to the larger jihadi network in Chechnya.
Let me ask you about that, because Chechnya, they're unhappy with Moscow, usually. I mean, that's who they're usually targeting, is the Russians. Not usually the United States, although I'm told there is a faction there that links itself up with Al-Qaeda, with jihadists, and they hate the West in general.
That's correct. There is a Wahhabist element inside Chechnya that is trying to establish the Islamic Caliphate, the worldwide fundamental caliphate. That is a very small section of the Chechen population, and most of those members aren't actually Chechen. They come inside and just use Chechnya as a base of operations.
But the older brother and the younger brother, to a lesser extent, we believe, had videos posted online that spoke exactly of that, the caliphate, and had some radicalized postings on there, at least over the last few years.
So they could be tied or sympathizers to the global jihadi network, but I still have nothing saying that they're connected with the Chechen movement yet, and I'm sure we would have picked up chatter of some sort if that was the case.
Like taking orders from, in other words.
Exactly. I think they might kind of be lone wolf actors, not taking orders from anybody, but sympathizing with the Chechen cause or with the Islamic Caliphate cause.
But how strange would this be, Craig, for them to, okay, let's say they do sympathize with that cause. They don't normally target Americans, even if they are in that one, Al-Qaeda linked group of the Chechens who are, who are radical. You don't normally see this where they target Americans for terror.
Right. So this might not be a Chechen national cause. It would be more of the jihadi cause, and the United States is still seen as the dominant power in the world, and so they would try to attack us if they were part of the global jihad. They can't really attack in Russia right now because Russia has a very authoritarian regime established inside Chechnya right now, so the lid is kind of covered on what they can do inside Chechnya. So if they are connected to the Chechen movement, taking orders from somebody, it would make sense that they would try to strike with people that they already have in the United States and elsewhere as well.
It's interesting because the folks who have been talking about them, who knew them growing up, talk about how great they were and how you never would have suspected it. Well, they had relationships with all of those people. And yet, and even the guy they are said to have carjacked, spent 30 minutes with him, they didn't kill him. But we believe that there is videotape, and we've seen a picture, the authenticity of which we're working to confirm, of the younger brother, who's now on the loose right now, Jahar Sarnaev, dropping his bomb right next to little 8-year-old Martin. And so, when there's no relationship, they have a very different view of the value of human life from the sound of it.
They might have a different view of American life, certainly, and if they can do something to destroy any type of American infrastructure or civilians, and that's going to take precedent over however those two individuals regard human life. I want to be careful, though, not to associate them with the larger Chechen population, because most Chechens would not at all support this type of activity whatsoever.
And have not. I mean, normally if there's an issue with that population, it's with Russia, not with the United States, and even the radicals there. They have, according to our own Jennifer Griffin, shown up on the battlefield of fighting American soldiers, the most radical elements of it, but it's a small faction of the overall Chechens, correct?
That's correct. And again, most of those aren't really Chechen. They come from neighboring areas and are brought into the Chechen environment for home base operations. But most of the people that we've captured on the battlefield have come from the surrounding areas, such as Dagestan.
All right, Craig, thank you. I want to tell our
Thank you.
viewers that there is a Facebook